Am I the asshole? For telling my kids that if they don't go to my wedding I will not be attending Therese. I'll start at the beginning. My ex-husband was a good father but a terrible husband. I divorced him when my oldest was 14 and youngest was 10. Well, he ended up spiraling and the kids were exposed to that. I was blamed for ruining Dad. He got better after a few years but ending up doing it again when he learned I was dating. So the kids kept trying to get me not to date since it will affect their dad. It was an awful time since to the kids I was still responsible for what he did and reacted to things. In the end I just kept my dating on the low end, which wasn't hard since it wasn't introducing the kids to the men anyways. All I had to change was not posting on social media. Also yes, I sent the kids to therapy. They all stopped when they hit 18 or my middle child refused to talk, so I pulled him. The oldest is now 25 and youngest is 21 and I got proposed to. I sat them down and told them. They were not happy and were pissed I was doing this to Dad. Lots of talked later and I thought it was good. The wedding is in 2 weeks. I got a text from all the kids saying they will not be at my wedding, that they need to support Dad during this time. I had enough and texted them that if they do not go to my wedding it will damage our relationship and I will not be attending their own weddings when they get married. They were pissed and it started an argument and all of them think I am a huge jerk. I truly hate that I can't do anything that makes me happy since it will affect my ex. Sorry for errors on phone and not native speaker. Update: I realized I am okay letting them go, I can't do it anymore. I sent a text, it is up to them if they go or not. If they do go I have hope to fix this relationship, if not I'm just done. I can't keep playing this game. It's for everything, anytime I have something good his feelings have to come first. I can't do that anymore, it hurts too much. I could tell them everything he has done but I don't feel like blowing up their image of him. Update: to someone private messaging me convinced me to lay it all out for them, so I did. Well, I got my response, they called me a liar. Even with showing old screenshot that were in our divorce case. I think it is over. Thanks for everyone that tried to help. I known this was a no-win situation. I did fuck it and sent every single thing including this post. Not the asshole. They are adults now and should realize that you are under no obligation to stay single to appease your ex. They are not the only people who have had parents divorce and yet it seems like they can't get over it. And if after all this time your ex is still emotionally impacted by your personal life, then he needs to get on with his life and get help because it is not healthy. Also, assuming that they want you to go to their weddings in the future, are they expecting you to go solo and not bring your husband? Ex's parental alienation campaign against you seems to have been pretty effective. And he's made the kids believe that you are responsible for his happiness and well-being. Unfortunately, there's nothing more you can do now. Just give the kids time to wise up and see their father for who he is. Don't give them ultimatums. Just issue future invites and leave it at that. Live your life, be happy. And all the best. Not the asshole. Edited. One word added. 11 years after the divorce, your kids are adults now and you're still not allowed to date to protect their father? Unless a lot of stuff is missing, that's a clear not the asshole. Not the asshole, you provided them therapy and their dad provided them with his psychological burden since they were kids and manipulated them. I hope they wake up soon, but I don't think an ultimatum like this was a solution. I understand the frustration it comes from, but it's going to make things worse between you and them. Not the asshole. They're all old enough to understand that he may have been a good father, but he was an awful husband. You're not obligated to be alone and miserable all because your ex has failed to move on. Your ex is mentally unstable and, whether intentionally or not, incredibly manipulative and has alienated you from your children. He allowed them to be exposed to his continued mental instability, he traumatized your kids and put a burden on them. If a group of adults won't allow you to move on with your life, then unfortunately they should not be in your life. Parents may have a duty to their children, but it absolutely does not extend to this. My best friend's husband was terrible to her. Lied, cheated, manipulated the fuck out of her for years and years. She finally got the courage to leave, but first, she asked their 14-year-old son what he thought she should do. He said he didn't want his dad doing heroin or fucking strippers again if she left, and said he wanted her to stay. So she did. And even with her there, he still did those things, just now she's stuck with it. Don't let children control your life. Have you asked them how they expect you to be happy? Maybe you should turn the tables and let them know how sad it makes you that they apparently don't want you to be happy. Dad must have really gotten into their heads for this kind of behavior unless you cheated on him and that's the reason for the divorce. I don't see how they could hold that kind of grudge. Not the asshole. They're older now. They need to get over it. You're not going to rekindle your relationship with their father. He sucked as a husband. Maybe he's poisoning them, and it might be time to expose why you divorced your husband and why you will never take him back. I think you may need to discuss this with your kids in a mediated therapeutic setting. Clearly they blame you for their father's issues, and that is likely because of things he tells them. I would recommend talking to them. No, you don't have to go to their weddings, and you aren't responsible for everything, but you are also an adult and you may regret that ultimatum. The only here is your ex. He has manipulated your children to try and get them to control you. The only way to solve the problem is for your children to see and understand what your ex is doing and why it is so unreasonable. Unfortunately, it might take a very long time for your kids to find clarity. Good luck. Your ex was successful in convincing your kids they made are responsible for his happiness, which is an awful way to live. You deserve happiness, so not the asshole. Info. So you make it sound like you made it a point to never let your children know you were dating, then you sit them down and tell them you're engaged. Did they not know you were dating this one, and did they never meet them? Not the asshole. They may be your children, but they are in fact not kids. They are all full-grown adults, even though they aren't acting like it. Not the asshole, but you should send this thread to your children as a wake-up call on their outrageous behavior. Maybe your ex wasn't the great dad you think he was, as he has clearly manipulated the children into believing his mental illness is your fault instead of owning his illness and the trauma that caused his children. Such a sad situation, but it's absolutely not your fault. Let them know the truth. They are adults. Their childhood image of him doesn't matter, and he obviously doesn't hold the same respect for you in allowing them to be pissy on his behalf. Blow up their false image of him. Not the asshole. It sounds like your ex-husband has been attempting to turn your kids against you since the divorce. They are grown adults and should understand that you're not responsible for the feelings of another grown adult 11 years after you separated. I don't want to blow up their image of him, dude. Just tell your kids. They're adults now and deserve to know the truth. Hell, send this post to them even. Why are you still protecting your husband this late in the game? Are you sure you want to give up your own children just to make some asshole happy? Nata. Your husband's coping problem is not your problem. Your kids need to understand that. In what way was he a terrible husband? Not the asshole. X is TA though. He's emotionally manipulating your children into making your life miserable. I was doing this to dad. You're not doing anything to their dad, he's your ex-husband. I was blamed for ruining dad for carrying on with your life. Support dad during this time. What about dad's new partner, or his therapist? Not the asshole. Your kids need to move on. They are old enough to understand that a relationship is a two-way street, and right now they are selfish AF. Not the asshole. You should definitely focus on your happiness first and marry the person who makes you happy. But are you sure that this matter is important enough to break your relationship with your kids on? If you can, try to accept that the kids just can't be there at your wedding. There is no need to retaliate by refusing to go to their future weddings. You may regret this later on, so please be very sure of whatever you do.